first.
You should have stretched first.
I already hit record. Oh, did you guys hear my knee pop? This is how we're starting today.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening,
good night. Wait, that's the same thing.
Welcome to Astoria. It is all sorts of nonsense.
It is. This is our third episode of the night, so we're doing great.
It is currently 10:06. Hey, we're doing good on time.
Yeah, we are. Last time, not so much.
Oh, the last time that we recorded 3 episodes, it took us like an hour to get dinner because the place we wanted to go to was closed. So we had to
drive around town.
Yeah, we had to go on the other side of town to get the food that we wanted instead of just going someplace closer. But
we didn't finish like 11:30. Right now it's only 10?
Yeah.
Wow, we're doing good.
Yeah. Maybe I can go to bed at a reasonable time. Hopefully I sleep in tomorrow.
Same. Dog's trying to wake us up.
I know. Well, James kind of woke me up like super early because he got up early.
Oh, okay.
But also when we came home for dinner last night, we immediately fell asleep on the couch.
Feel that.
It's a comfy couch.
It is. It's nice. I'm happy because this is one of my first Sundays this whole year where I haven't had to work. Like, I'm not gonna have to work tomorrow because of the snow day.
Oh, yeah, you caught up.
I did. I got so much grading done that day that now I'm like, I get to actually enjoy my Sunday. We're gonna wedding plan all day because we haven't done that. So,
are you going to breakfast in the morning?
Hopefully. We usually like to do some brunch.
Yes.
So.
Aww.
Whoa!
I pray. You got someone who wants to wedding plan with you. You're lucky.
I have to make him.
Yeah.
He doesn't mind it, but it's hard for him, he hasn't really helped me with that much.
Yeah.
I've been the one kind of in charge. I'm also the one kind of in charge of looking for houses.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, I want to figure it out. Which is okay. As long as he just tells me his opinions. I'd rather have that than, I don't like that.
James really doesn't fucking care. He's just give me a date, make sure it's not during hunting season, and then we're good to go.
That's how he is. I was like, what do you want for our colors? He's like, I don't care. I was like, okay.
I know. For us, we're keeping it so low-key. I'm like, I don't even need colors. I just want pretty flowers.
I just want people to show up.
Pretty much. Or even, not really. Just send me money.
Okay, I won't come to you. I'll just send you $5.
$5? No, I want 7 people. I mean, James really wanted an elopement, but my mom was like, fucking dare, don't do it.
Yeah, no, I'm stressing out that my wedding's 5 months away.
Dude.
Need to schedule another dress fitting. Okay, anyway. I have my dress in my closet. I just didn't try it on when I picked it up. Because I was like, no one's here with me, and I don't want to do this alone.
Well, dude, don't get alteration from there.
Yeah,
it's too expensive.
Yeah. Anyway, hopefully I don't have to make a lot of alterations, but I'm going to schedule an appointment in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, there's some places around town.
Yeah. Okay, well, anyway. Thanks for listening to our wedding talk. Wedding planning problems.
Sorry, we will get into the actual conversation of this week's story. Please bear with us.
We both are, going through similar things.
Yeah.
We're both moved. You moved already.
Yeah.
Going through, wedding planning. Possibly getting another dog, it's similar stuff.
Hopefully by the time this one comes out that we have one.
Yeah, hopefully, guys. We'll post a picture.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
If it goes through, we will post a picture, or we will have.
Yeah, I love that.
So far in the future, oh my god.
3 weeks. 2 weeks.
So,
yeah.
Something like that.
2 weeks, because I'm going to post the Stephen King episode tomorrow. So if you're wondering where we're at, that's where we are. Okay, anyway.
We have a really interesting topic. So Kylie was like, why don't we do another, combo episode?
Yeah, I think this is working well where we do, one person does one big thing, and then we do one small thing. Yeah. And so I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, what can we do that is intriguing? I didn't want to do anything too true crimey. I wanted to do something unique, but historical. So I told her, I was like, what about disasters? Yeah. Because those are huge in history. Mine, of course, is old. I like mine super old. I know, mine are always, recent-ish. Mm-hmm. And you know what? That works well. It does. It gives the best of both worlds. Yeah. It works well that way, yeah. So mine isn't as, old as usual. You usually go. Yeah. So I'm doing
It's still, like, hella old, but it's not, like,
oh my God,
super old.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Ready to jump on in?
Oh, by the way, we don't tell each other what we're talking about most of the time. So
yeah, so we're kind of, like, this week I was a little afraid of what we wanted to do.
We almost both did Haiti. We were in the car and we were like, where's yours take place? Just to make sure. We have different locations.
Luckily, we haven't done that yet.
Yeah, I know.
That's
one day.
I know.
One day. All right.
One day. Okay. Let's get started.
Woo!
Disasters in history take many different forms, but one thing we can all agree on is the devastating amount of lives, land, and architecture that is lost due to it. Often some of these disasters are lost to history, like Pompeii, as we know, but some hundreds of years ago are remembered like an old memory. So there's some that are from the 1800s that are just like, oh my God, I remember that.
Yeah.
Or even from, we weren't alive, but in the 1980s with the eruption of Mount St. Helens. Mm-hmm. So that's like an old memory of like, oh, that wasn't so long ago, but we weren't even alive then.
Right.
Today we are discussing the event of one of China's deadliest earthquakes, the 1556 Shaanxi Earthquake. Before we talk about this deadliest disaster, let's talk about the ruler during this time, because that
always
holds
matters.
some importance. Yes. The Shaanxi Earthquake of 1556 was during the Ming Dynasty and during its 12th ruler, who is the Shaanxi Emperor. Born September 16, 1507, Shaanxi would start his reign in May 27, 1521. Mm-hmm. The sum of his reign, he was not the best emperor, let's just say. I think it's Shaanxi. Shaanxi. Because it's Jaijing.
Yeah, Jaijing.
Jaijing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, yeah, his reign was pretty controversial, and he didn't really do a lot for the dynasty.
Okay.
Yeah, he was not the great ruler. He was not the greatest. Though intelligent and efficient with his work, he flaked when it came to state meetings or even state affairs entirely. So he pretty much was just like, I'm not doing this. Mm-hmm. It's just because he got the title to be emperor, and he was just like,
nah.
No, I'm gonna separate myself to this because I don't want to deal with. I'll still do my part to like do government papers and stuff like that to make sure like some aspects, but he's like, I'm not going to those meetings. I'm not dealing with state affairs. I don't give a shit.
It's too much work.
Yeah, he was just like, no, I'm not gonna do it. And they were like, what the fuck? He was like, I'll send people to do it. I'm not doing it.
Jesus.
So he pretty much just did his own thing at that point. To further himself from the state, Jaijing isolated himself outside of Beijing in like a forbidden city, so his palace was like literally away from everybody else.
Oh, okay.
He was just like, I don't want anything to do with these people. And I think he also wanted to distance himself from the state to be like, I don't want them coming to my house.
Yeah.
Just to show up and be like, dude, you need to come. Plus, he wanted to be away from everybody. Mm-hmm. Like, he didn't want... Because he never made any, like, guest appearances. He was... Or, like, appearances or whatnot. He was just like, I'm gone. I'm a ghost.
Jesus.
I don't exist. But I do. I still rule.
I still rule.
For 25 years, the emperor never made an official audience. Like, he never, like, made a true, like, hey, guys, it's me. Like, for 25 years, he kept himself isolated to just, like, never make an appearance.
Oh, wow.
He had everybody else handle every single affair for him. He was just like, I'm just going to sit back and do my own thing. Like, I'll sign a few things that I need to, but I'm not actually going to do whatever you want me to.
Jeez, he sounds awesome.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is that the Ming Dynasty was such a great dynasty, but, like, his rule specifically was not the greatest, which makes this whole disaster really suck.
Yeah.
Especially for him, because he was just like, that sucks. So literally it. So he was having others make like the appearances, go to the state meetings, handle the state affairs. That was a problem because I feel like he trusted too many people that he shouldn't have. Because that always causes problems.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because they think that they have the higher authority when they don't. Along with isolation came cruel treatment to the people who worked for him. I didn't really look further into, like, the cruel treatment that he did to the people who worked for him, but I'm assuming that it was brutal. Because what they do is wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure he probably spat at them, yelled at them. I'm sure, like, maybe even tortured them. Like, I don't know. It's assumption to me, but it probably had to have been bad. If they even said that he was, like, a pretty cruel ruler.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
But it's just, like, it was probably the isolation didn't help him. He was away from everybody, and then the people that he was with were below him.
Right.
So, that really does a lot. Don't really communicate with a lot of people in your same specter, so you're kind of alone in that situation. Due to others handling state affairs along this way, crazy corruption in the government would be brought onto the peaceful Ming Dynasty. So you're having other people take care of your whole affairs. There's going to be mad corruption. People are going to start stealing money. People are going to be doing shady shit.
Classic.
Yeah, it made this part of the Ming Dynasty just like, we need to restructure. We need to rebrand.
Yeah. Take a step back and look at it.
More fortunate events occurred when in 1542, Mongol leader Altan Khan started his way on China's northern border. So he was just like knocking at the border like, I'm not happy. I'm coming in. And he was just like, no, what can we do to sort this? So they finally, like, after, like, discussion and kind of just yelling at each other and kind of doing stupid shit, they finally decided to give, like, the Mongols, like, a better trading rights. And I was just like, you probably didn't do anything. You probably didn't do anything. Probably just sitting there just like, handle it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm too busy sitting here.
Too busy. Also, during this time, pirates would also start attacking the southeastern coastline.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. This dude was just like, I'm just sitting here enjoying my time. Y'all go deal with those shitheads. Now let's talk about the Zhejiang Emperor's almost assassination.
Oh my god.
Now, can you guess why he was almost assassinated?
Why he was?
Why he almost was. He wasn't, though. It was due to his mistreatment of maids and concubines. My God,
of course.
So he was probably, like, just treating them like shit, abusing them.
Yeah.
Doing cruel shit, and they had enough. They were just like, I'm over this guy and his cruel intentions. We're banding together, and we're going to take this asshole out.
Hell yeah.
So they...
Take him down.
So during at night, they snuck into his room and started to strangle him.
Oh.
Yeah. And there was like a bunch of them. One of the lead maids, though, was just like, I don't think this is right. I don't think we should be doing this. Another one, she, like, as she was, like, strangling him, she, like, missed, like, an area to really properly. As I was reading it, I was just like, what did... She wasn't strangling him right to kill him.
Oh, my God.
And so the maid, like, the lead maid, who was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't think this is right. She ran out of the room and ran to the Empress and was like, these maids and concubines are murdering your husband. Like, you're going to lose everything if we don't fucking do something. So they got the guards, they went in, and they took all of the maids and concubines and saved his life.
Wow.
But it didn't help because then they gathered all of the maids and concubines, all of their families, including their if they have husbands, children, like their whole family, they then executed them.
Oh my God.
All of them.
Damn.
Because they almost assassinated the king, or the emperor, sorry.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was just like, when I read that, I was like, what the fuck?
Oh my God.
Jiajing Emperor would eventually die in January 23rd of 1567, but still in his reign, an unfortunate event would occur that we are discussing today. Okay, so we're going to talk about now the Shaanxi Earthquake of 1556. Mm-hmm. It was the early hours in the Wei River Valley in January 23rd. Precisely this area was in the Hashao district of the Shaanxi province in northern China. Mm-hmm. While some slept because it was very early, a lot of people were still sleeping, others were getting ready for the day, a sudden shake roared through the area. It was huge. They're not even confident of what the exact magnitude is, but some scientists have kind of just gone through whatever research that they do.
Yeah.
And looked at like previous waves, or I don't know how they do it, but they were saying that it would probably hit around an 8 on the Richter scale.
Jesus.
Yeah, and you covered Richter scales when you did the San Francisco earthquake, so that was like
huge.
An 8 is huge still. Like it doesn't make the top, but an 8 is intense, and this becomes one of the deadliest because of how much is destroyed because of this earthquake.
Wow.
Which is really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Only lasting a few seconds, there would be aftershocks occurring up to 6 months after the initial quake.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, so.
6 months. Jesus.
I can't imagine just like having like a short shake kind of like the aftershock and be like, oh shit, it's happening again.
Never ends.
God, I would have a meltdown. It should also be known that this area is known to earthquakes because of the 3 major fault lines that is along this area. But the Shaanxi earthquake was like another. So this is kind of like it's in a valley. Mm-hmm. So underneath is like 3 fault lines, which is really dangerous. So this town that was sitting in the middle of it got completely...
Ooh, 3 fault lines?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Completely demolished. And so did the entire just vegetation and just the habitats and just the whole structure of the ecosystem just shifted because of this.
That's
which
crazy.
Did not work in their favor, unfortunately. Now, I'm going to come out and say that due to this earthquake, they have found that around 830,000 people died.
Oh my God.
And that's not even including the injured.
Dang.
Yeah, that's a lot of people, especially for this.
Population probably wasn't as big too.
Because it didn't really start growing until like in the last, I guess like 200, 300 years or something like that. Now, the Shaanxi province was a popular area of trade and agriculture, causing many to live in this area. So a lot of people flocked because they're like easy trading, so much agriculture, just a lot of history in it itself. People, they were interested there. If they didn't want to live in the big cities, they fled to here. A lot of them did, just to kind of get that big city feel, but also be close to like the trading atmosphere.
Yeah.
Now, this earthquake would cause 60% of the area's population to drop.
God.
Yeah, over
60%.
I bet people who were outside of their homes were so happy they were during this time.
Oh, yeah.
I just survived it. Like,
that's crazy.
60% of the population. Like, that's probably...
Ugh.
There's a lot of people who lived in this area.
Wow.
But yeah, losing over 830,000, that's a lot. Due to the shake, homes would be leveled to the strength of the quake. Yeah.
Wow.
So, And the homes were a lot different to what we are familiar with now. They had different types of homes. So a lot of them had just like casual, I'm sure, like apartment type buildings and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But a lot of them would lose their lives due to living in yaodongs, which are man-made caves that Chinese citizens would make their homes. These caves, people would pretty much just like, the man-made ones, they would pretty much just like, they stayed in them because they kept them warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Okay. So they would build their house in these. It's wild how they did that. Yeah, they completely created their own home out of it. But it didn't work in their favor in this situation because due to the living in a cave and the shake, all of that soil and like stuff and it all fell on them and crushed them. Oof. Yeah, and that a lot of people were living in those because you would probably have several families living in one. Wow. In one of the caves. So having all these people probably sleeping or getting ready for their day and having the quake go early in the morning just for a few seconds, that was enough. It was
Fast and Furious.
Yes, it was. Yes, she was. Homes after this event would leave people to build their homes now out of bamboo and wood. Oh, okay. How do you know that? That makes sense. Smart because bamboo is hella strong. When we were in Florida, we went to a garden in Orlando, and they have these ginormous bamboo trees. Uh-huh. And my sister and I felt them, and I was like, holy shit, this stuff is hard. I'm like, how do pandas eat these?
They got strong teeth.
Bamboo is very strong. Like, if you have probably for what they used and to build, they got a strong structure. And using wood as well. So, honestly, that's good that they changed their structure of how to hold a home instead of relying on a cave. Right. Especially in a high. And they knew that earthquakes happen around there. But this one was so high on the Richter scale that they didn't even know that this could happen. So this was a surprise, which it happens. Like, you never know if it's going to be like a super how intense it's going to be. How intense. If it's going to be a little, if it's going to be really, like, you never know. Yeah. The lasting effects to this land would be the level of mountains, change courses of rivers leading to massive floods, which caused more death.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And eventually fires that lasted for days.
Oh my god.
This would kill more of the population as well.
So everything's just going wrong.
Everything is going wrong. You probably thought that just like hell was just being brought onto you. Because if you survived the earthquake, you're probably going to die in the flood or the fire. Jesus. Wow. Damages were made all the way to 310 miles away from the main area of the quake. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It had a huge radius. Damn. Yeah. And people, like, even people from further away still felt it.
Wow.
I was just like, my God, crazy. I can't imagine. Many artifacts were also destroyed and severely damaged. Some lost to China's history now. Because some were partially burned due to the fires. Others were probably just washed away due to the flood. And others were probably just buried. Yeah, destroyed. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. The people of the Shaanxi province would pick themselves up, but it would take years to do so. This was not going to be an overnight thing that they can build up from, especially when you've lost 60% of your population. And I didn't really see anything about the emperor doing much. Mm-hmm. Kind of just like, sorry? Got to figure it out. You got to build up. We need to get this trade route back going. Now, the Shaanxi earthquake may not be the highest on the Richter scale or lost millions of lives like another Chinese flood that has occurred. I think it was in the 1930s, there was a flood in China that took out 3.7 million people.
Oh my god, poor China.
Yeah, that was wild when I saw that. I almost covered that one.
Oh my god.
Because that's a lot of fucking people.
Oh yeah. Damn.
Yeah. But the death toll was still in the hundreds of thousands for this earthquake, especially in 1556. And the hub was no longer existing to their standard. And I don't know if it really grew back to what it once was. But this disaster changed this area.
Oh.
And I'm sure people were smarter about how they were building their homes, how to prepare for situations like this. Just because you never know, like every earthquake you probably think it's going to be the next worst one is going to be worse, so you have to prep for it. But like it sucks because not only did you have an earthquake, but you also had a flood and a fire.
Oh, so that's horrible. So many people died.
Yeah, and that's probably like China's deadliest when it comes to everything going wrong.
And so fast.
So fast, yes. And then having those aftershocks, that was probably traumatizing as it was too. So that was the Shaanxi Earthquake of 1556.
That's so sad.
Yeah, it was really fun to research, and then the Emperor Jijing.
All of that drama.
Oh my god. I was just like, this dude was almost assassinated? My god. I was like, and he didn't do much for his people? I was like, damn. So, that's the tea I got. What's your tea?
Okay, well, I guess I'll start us off with the next story.
Mm-hmm.
So, I did mine on a tropical cyclone.
Nice.
Yeah. And this was called, so there's two Cyclone Bholas.
Ooh.
This one is the Cyclone Bhola of 1970. Okay. The other one, and I didn't realize there were two, but then when I was researching, I got very confused at one point because I started talking about New Zealand. And I was like, what? I thought we were in Pakistan. So I got confused. So there's one in New Zealand and there's one in present-day Bangladesh. So there's two. This one is the one of 1970.
Okay.
just in case anyone gets confused. All right, so this occurred in present-day Bangladesh, and at this time when this happened, it was in East Pakistan. So this happened on from November 12th to the 13th of 1970, and this is the world's deadliest tropical cyclone. Ooh. So, I'm going to read just the definition of a tropical cyclone because it sounds confusing.
I was wondering,
sounds like a tornado, but with water. So I'm going to explain it. So this is our definition from Wikipedia. So I'm really good at this.
Yay!
It says, a tropical cyclone is a rapidly rotating storm system characterized by low pressure center, a closed low-level atmospheric circulation, strong winds, and a spiral arrangement of thunderstorms that produce heavy rain around it. So just a big circle, thunderstorms everywhere.
Oh.
Yeah. Depending on its location and strength, a tropical cyclone is referred to by different names, including a hurricane, a typhoon, and a tropical storm. And you might even hear a cyclonic storm. You might even hear a tropical depression or simply the word cyclone. Mm-hmm. So it really just depends on where you are. I'm going to talk about each area. So a hurricane is a strong tropical cyclone that occurs in the Atlantic Ocean. Mm-hmm. So any that happen in the Atlantic Ocean or northeastern Pacific Ocean. That is all hurricanes. A typhoon occurs in the northwestern Pacific Ocean, in the Indian Ocean, and South Pacific, or sometimes even the South Atlantic. Comparable storms are referred to simply as tropical cyclones.
It's so weird how, like, each region has their own thing.
I know, it is. It's very interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, so some people call it a hurricane. Some people call it a typhoon. But when we talk about the word tropical, it's just referring to the geographical location.
Yeah.
With the tropical seas. So, cyclone just refers to the wind.
Yeah.
So, that's really what it means. Basically, the wind is moving in a counterclockwise direction, but you can see the eye. It's like a hurricane.
Ugh.
Yeah, it sounds terrifying.
So is it like in the sea or is it on land?
It starts from the sea and
then
goes
moves in.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
It's scary.
That is terrifying.
So this one was the deadliest. It was not the biggest, but it's the deadliest, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so it killed, they don't know for sure, but it's around 300,000 to 500,000 people. Jesus. So another big one. Yeah. We're just coming in hot with these big ones. And this grew from a depression, which is just a large dip in the earth. And it was in the south central bay of Bengal, and that hit the area there. So there's a large storm surge that overwhelmed the low-lying islands and tidal flats along the shore of the Bay of Bengal. So just a lot of waves coming up. They kind of had a feeling it was going to happen. Oh. Now, at this time in 1970, this was the sixth and strongest cyclonic storm of the 1970 North Indian Ocean cyclone season. So they had 5 more before this.
Oh my God.
And I was kind of researching them all. They're all kind of in the same area, but it is just interesting. So the first one was, they're all in 1970. Yeah. May 2nd was in easternmost Bangladesh. And this, again, started with that depression. And then they were able to find more depressions. May 29th was in the Arabian Peninsula. June 2nd was the southern Saudi Arabia. That is where the one that started in the Arabian Peninsula ended up there. So it went from May 29th to June 2nd.
Good Lord.
I know. June 6th was in West Bengal. Oh God, I'm going to butcher these. Vidarbha, southern Madhya. I'm so sorry, you guys. A bunch of different places in that area, okay? And this one led to crazy rainfall and a lot of flooding. Jeez. So that was like the one that had the most rain.
Yeah.
September 2nd to the 13th, there was a big one in West Bengal. Yeah, Orissa and the coastal Arabia. And then the one right before this one was in October. So it was October 18th to the 22nd in West Bengal. So then this one happened in November. And then after this storm, there was another one in November. This was the last one of the year. And it happened in Somalia. But anyway, just talking about this big one, because this, again, was the deadliest of all of them. But it's just crazy how they all happen like that.
Yeah.
A whole year of it. That's just terrible. So with this one, there's really only 5 million people living in this area. So just kind of putting that into perspective.
Yeah.
So I was watching this really sad, documentary. They don't really have documentaries on it, but it was this guy who had some footage from the day that it happened, and just watching people coming together. There was a lot of singing songs because the population was so low. Everybody knew someone who everybody lost somebody. Aww. So they all just kind of came together and prayed. And there was a really interesting story, and they showed footage of this, but there's a husband, a wife, and then there was another girl who was with them. They were all from the same village, and they were all adrift for 5 days. So they were swept away to sea. They actually spent 4 days on the backs of water buffalo.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then when the buffalo died, they found a small boat. So they're on the boat, and then eventually they're able to survive. A passing Russian ship picked them up and brought them to rescue.
How did they stay alive? How did they not dehydrate?
I don't know.
Because you can only survive for 3 days without water.
But they showed a clip of them just riding back in the boat, and they all just look like they're about to die. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I bet.
And so they have a lot of wounds too. They're showing their arms are all cut up.
And it's crazy too that it wasn't that long ago that they could film it.
Right. I know. That's why I was like, "Whoa, there's footage." Okay. Mm-hmm. But I like the video. There's they're reuniting with their village, so they're coming back and they're all excited because they didn't know if those people were alive.
Exactly.
There's a lot of people that they were just waiting to come home, and some of them never did.
I mean, some are probably still missing.
Right.
They're just did they survive or did they?
Yeah, exactly. Not? And with that specific village, there were only 7,000 that lived there. Only 3,000 of them survived. Oh my God. So again, they all were very close and knew someone who died. But this big tropical cyclone actually started on the central Bay of Bengal, like I said, on November 8th. So it started forming early November. And then it traveled north. So then it was getting more intense as it went. It reached its peak wind at 115 miles per hour on November 10th.
That is fast.
Yeah. And then it made landfall on the coast of East Pakistan the following afternoon.
Good Lord.
So it was going pretty quick.
Yeah.
It devastated many islands. It wiped out, I think there was at least 20 villages that were just disappeared. And it destroyed a lot of crops.
I bet.
Yeah, so it severely affected these specific areas, Upazila and Tasmudin. I'm so sorry. Tasmudin? That sounds right. With over 45% of those populations of 167,000 that were killed. Okay. Lots of people.
Yeah.
So just kind of how your place had some tea going on with the government, ours was the same way. So the Pakistani government was criticized for its delay in handling of relief operations after the storm. They didn't know what to do. And because there were so many that were happening this year, they just kind of didn't take it that seriously and they weren't ready. So the leader general, Yahya, I think, because his name is spelled Yahya. Yahya?
I think so. They always pronounce, all these other languages that aren't English, they all pronounce something different.
It's probably Yahya or something.
Something like that.
I'm so sorry, I should have looked it up. But his name is Yahya Khan. He's the third president of Pakistan. Everyone hated him.
Oh.
So he once again was just kind of blew it off and was just we're not gonna help. There's really nothing we can do. And the international media was mad. Everyone was from other places are why are you guys not doing anything about this? How can we help? And then the political leaders were also come on, bro. We gotta do something. Luckily, there was an election a month later.
Good.
For a new president.
Check him out.
Yeah. And obviously the new president won over Yahya by a landslide.
Yeah.
It wasn't even close at all. Everyone was get out of here, Yahya. Whatever your name is. Yahya. Continuing unrest between East Pakistan and the central government triggered the Bangladesh Liberation War. And this led to a huge genocide and eventually led to the creation of the independent country Bangladesh. Oh. So this was right before all of that tea happened. Yeah. So anyway, that's just some fun facts about the government. But a lot of people think that the depression that formed this cyclone was thought to be from remnants of a tropical storm Nora from the West Pacific Ocean. That's how far it was able to pass. There was moments of the cyclone where it was 3 minutes of the 115 miles per hour winds. 3 minutes. Yeah. And then there was 1 minute of 150 miles per hour winds, which, oh my God. Can't even imagine.
No, that's fast.
And most people were completely surprised by the storm. A lot of people had no idea it was coming.
Yeah.
They weren't told it was coming at all. Many people believed that the East Pakistani weather services may not have shared the information because of the different conflicts going on. So they didn't want to help each other out. It's kind of sad. But there was a lot going on with the government, and they were just kind of whatever happens, happens.
Dude.
They did have a storm warning system, but it was not used properly. And this was thought to have caused the cost of thousands of lives because people just weren't aware that it was going to happen.
See, that's why you gotta make sure no matter what.
Right. You have to be prepared.
You really have to, especially if you know that shit happens in your area.
Yeah. The Pakistan Meteorological Department issued a report for preparing for danger afterwards. So they're okay, next time we need to be ready. And yes, there's going to be a next time. Ooh. So we need to be ready. Oh. They're we've had too many going on in this area. We need to be ready. There was a great danger signal as it got closer. So they did let out a signal, but because it was already so close,
it's you can't do anything.
Yeah. No. So a lot of them are we let out a signal. Okay.
That doesn't do shit if you do it freaking 20 minutes before it comes.
Yeah, what can they do? There was actually another cyclone in 1991 in Bangladesh, so the same area, and this one was even stronger. Making landfall in the same exact area, it was a Category 5 cyclone with 160 miles per hour winds. So 1970 was the deadliest tropical cyclone because it killed more people.
It wasn't prepared.
Right, and because they were more prepared with, like, the building of different places that they could go into, they were able to, they were able to survive. It just was more intense. So, yeah. This one, the one in 1970 was one of the deadliest natural disasters ever. I think the two that we covered today are probably at the top of the list there. The radio reported that there were no survivors on 13 islands near the area. They had helicopters flying over, and they could not see anyone left on a lot of these islands. There was just complete devastation everywhere. Over 3.6 million people were directly affected. The total damage from the storm was around $86.4 million. Jeez. Which is about $500 million in today's money. So it's kind of like
money that they probably don't have.
Oh, yeah, no. So 85% of the homes were ruined.
Oh,
85, that's crazy. 90% of fishermen had heavy losses as well. 9,000 offshore fishing boats were ruined. 65% of fishing capacity was destroyed. Wow. And if we're thinking about this area, 80% of their meat comes from fish. Yeah. And now they're losing that.
Oh, no.
Yeah. $63 million worth of crops were destroyed, and 280,000 cattle were destroyed.
There was just no time to prep.
I know. It's so sad.
I mean, in that time, it's like, how do you prep?
Right.
For something like that.
So the first area that helped them out was India, just in general.
Yeah.
Just gave them $1.3 million to help them out.
That's good.
The U.S. president at the time, Richard Nixon, gave $10 million.
Really?
A $10 million grant to provide food and essential relief.
Interesting.
A lot of places were helping out. I didn't write them all down because I was like, oh, wow, a lot more than I expected. Canada, France, West Germany, they were all giving money.
Good for them.
Yeah. Singapore sent a military medical mission for those who were wounded and needed some support. And in December of that year, so a month later, the Red Cross started to come up with a plan to use if anything happened again in that area. So that's really where they were able to decide, what are we going to do? How are we going to be ready for this?
Yeah.
How can we make sure that we're helping people right away as well? The proposal was adopted to improve the ability to provide aid to the disaster-stricken countries right away, which did help with the 1991. And over 200 cyclone shelters were constructed in Bangladesh. So now they have the areas to go into. And
that's so important to have.
Yeah. Like I said, there were less people killed because of the 1991 storm. Because they have those shelters. So that is the Cyclone of Bhola, 1970.
That is wild.
I know.
And it just really shows how important it is to prep.
Right.
If it's common to have some sort of just like tornadoes, hurricanes, just to have a shelter for your people.
At least have something.
Exactly. Or even to prep them like time ahead, like get out. Like you need to get out of here. Because even with like people in Katrina.
Right.
And a lot of them they either didn't want to leave their home and it's just like, dude, you're really sketching it. Like, and that's why so many were on the top of their roofs of their houses. But it's just, you gotta have that proper evacuation time.
Well, and you would think, like, if they already had 5 cyclones before this, and I know they weren't that big, like, a lot of them, they didn't even kill anyone.
It doesn't even matter.
But yeah, you should be prepared, especially if it's in that area.
Yeah.
We should probably do something.
Yeah. And that's just for pretty much every, especially like in Kentucky and stuff, Oklahoma with like tornadoes.
Right.
Dude, that insurance is probably crazy.
I can't imagine.
I don't even know if they have insurance or like what they have over there.
Tornado insurance.
Cyclone insurance.
Yeah. Oh, it's wild.
Yeah. But that one was interesting. I never heard of that.
I never heard of yours either, which is so sad because there's so many people that died. My God.
I feel like a lot of, like, Chinese history is swept under the rug.
For sure. Yeah.
Because there's a lot to Chinese history that I could have taken a class on it, but I chose... I think it's because it was, like, offered, like, every year that I was in college, but every semester I wanted to do a different class more. So anytime it was offered, I think when it was offered, I wanted to do... I think it was Civil War instead.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to do ancient Egypt later on. So I was just like, I covered it though. We covered some Chinese history in my World War II class.
Oh, okay.
There's one that I want to do that I'm not really sure if I should because it's very traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
If guys let me know, because I was thinking of doing the rape of Nanking, which took place during World War II. It is very, very brutal, very dark. It is very sad. But if you want me to cover it, let me know if you're interested.
Put in a trigger warning in the beginning.
Yes, trigger warnings throughout the entire episode because it's a really heavy topic. But Chinese history is very rich.
Yeah, we do sweep it under. It's like
there's a lot to it from all of the dynasties. There's so many fucking dynasties. I'm like, I don't know which is which. I never covered heavily on China's history, so I'm not familiar with it, but it would be cool to dive a little bit deeper. So that's why I wanted to do it this week, because I'm we haven't covered China.
Yeah, I tried to pick an area too where it was like, I don't think we've really...
And that's what, like, I'm trying to go across. Like, I think soon I'll do another, like, U.S. one.
Yeah.
But I want to do a big one.
Uh-huh.
Like a 2-parter next, but that might take me the next couple weeks to do some research, because who I have in mind is going to be very big, that Hitler. I think... Just kidding. That would take a lot, because then you have to add in World War II, and just like all the theories.
A random person.
Dude, that would be a lot. But no, I'm excited for this next person that I want to cover, but yeah, I need to do a lot deeper history on them and just their world. So we'll see.
I probably won't do any too big of episodes until I'm on summer break.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh. But I'm excited for some of the things we have coming up.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. Let us know what you guys are thinking.
Yeah. I think the big thing we both learned today is be prepared.
Honestly, be prepared for everything. Yeah. Be smart. Don't live in a cave.
Don't do that, yeah.
Don't do that. Where can you find us?
You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at His Story the Podcast. You can send us an email at hisstorythepodcast@gmail.com. You can send us your requests, comments, stories, anything you want.
Oh, yeah, because we would love to gather some of just your stories that have maybe occurred to, like, your family members throughout history.
Mm-hmm.
Any just, like, crazy story that you'd like to tell us that's historical related.
Yeah, definitely.
We would love to share them.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right.
I'm going to go to bed.
I know, I'm so tired. All right, well, it's been real. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.